Babe, I just paid the bills. I got a charge for $324 from Steam. What is that? Well, it's, heating the house, Steam. What? I thought that was electric. Nope. Nope, we use Steam. Huh? How does that work? Pipes through the walls and the ceilings. Heat comes through the vents. Okay, well, I guess so. It just looked pretty high. Yeah, I mean, heating costs a lot. Yeah, it's weird though. It's mid-July. Yep. It was 90 degrees yesterday. Yep. And you were cold enough to turn the heat on? Yep. It was basically snowing in here. I had to. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh. Steam is a video game thing, isn't it? Yeah. The Steam Deck is on sale until July 11th. It's under $300. Should you get one? Which one should you get? What can you do with one? Why do I have a weird balding spot right here? You see that? Right there. It's pretty weird, right? It's pretty weird, right? I'll answer these questions and a little bit more. Should you buy a Steam Deck in the year 2024? Okay, but I really probably can't answer the balding question. Doctors have looked at it. There's nothing we can do. I bought the original LCD Steam Deck about 2 years ago, the 512 gigabyte version. This was around when my son was born, and at the time, I basically realized that playing big, games on the screen that could potentially be scary was not going to be a thing anymore. So with the Steam Deck, I could play anywhere, play any game I want, and not give my kid nightmares, which, by the way, if you're a parent and you understand what kids getting nightmares, it's not fun. You wake up in the middle of the night a lot. So at the time, I thought this was the perfect solution to my problems. And 2 years later, I'm pretty dang happy I purchased this thing. If you've been living under a rock and this is the first time you've come out from under there and seen the light, the Steam Deck is a handheld that utilizes the Steam library. Now, the Steam library is this gigantic library that you've built up over time, filled with all the games that you probably are never going to get to or play. In all seriousness, the Steam Deck is an handheld device that utilizes Steam's functionality. Now, one great thing about the Steam Deck is, even though this is the LCD-based version screen, it looks really good. The colors are really good, and unfortunately my camera doesn't really pick it up very well, but reds are a good red. Bright colors look fantastic on this. You probably saw the intro, so you saw that. And one of the biggest games I like to play on here is Persona 5 Royal, which is a turn-based combat game, and it doesn't really take up a ton of graphics, which I would say that's the one downfall of this thing. After 2 years, the buttons still feel really great on this thing. The triggers here, they feel really good, maybe a little squishy, but that's just how the Steam Deck is designed. Nothing crazy there. The buttons here on the back, they're just fine. I never use these. I mean, they're cool. I'm sure there's some sort of functionality I could use for this, but I just never have gotten around to using them or mapping them. And of course, the screen looks fantastic. Like I said, really good colors on this. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree DLC on here, and it really does feel quite nice. I can get a solid about 40 to 45 frames per second. There's some dips here and there, especially with some sort of like big spells going on in the background, but overall I can get it on a solid 40 to 45 FPS. Elden Ring, I feel like, is the perfect game to test out on the Steam Deck. It's a heavy action-oriented game, lots of quick movements. You have to be very quick on your feet with button presses. Like I said, there's an occasional slowdown here and there when there's a bunch of graphics on screen, but overall I'm playing on this no problem, and it's really great because obviously this is something I don't want my kids to see because it's quite terrifying at parts. The Steam Deck's operating system is Linux-based, which I love. I've actually never been a huge fan of Windows. Ever since like back in the day when they went away from Windows 7 and they got to basically like Windows 8 and then 10 with their bloatware. I don't like that. Bloatware just takes up your CPU usage, and with this device, because it's Linux-based, you really don't get that. It really does just run the game. There's nothing in the background that's really running to hinder the performance. You're just getting the game here. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be checking out the Steam Deck. I guess while you're here, we could, check out this dad joke book together. My wife got me this a few years back for the kids.
Why did the show about planes never take off? Because it had a lousy pilot.
That was horrible.
Oh, like and subscribe.
The Steam Deck is not just for your regular Steam library, though. You can also install a ton of emulators on here and ROMs and be able to play a ton of consoles from the past and emulate them on this thing. Even some new ones like the Nintendo Switch, which does take a little bit of know-how how to do, but once you set it up, it's quite beautiful. So I've had this thing about 2 years now, and every second that I get to spend on this, I love. It's been a fantastic device for me. The speakers on here are just fine. They're enough. But mainly what I like to do is take my Bluetooth headphones and connect to this, and then they have noise cancellation, so I really get immersed into the Steam Deck when I'm playing it. And that is like, if you see my other reviews, I talk about Bluetooth headsets and noise cancellation when you have two kids that are really young. It's really nice to have because it just gives you that little bit of rest, you know what I mean? I've talked a lot about my experience with this thing. Let's actually get to the specs and the different models they have available and the ones that are on sale at the moment. So here we are at store.steampower.com/SteamDeck, or you could just Google Steam Deck and you don't have to type all of that in because that's crazy. And immediately when you get to this page, you're going to see a nice, hey, everyone's playing the Steam Deck. Man, they got some good shots here. That guy had his feet in his pool. Oh man. I want to have my feet in my pool when I play my Steam Deck. I don't have a pool though. So here you're just going to click on the 15% off. I'll go over the other ones here in a second, but this is really So 15% off the Steam Deck is quite a lot. There are two versions of the Steam Deck currently on sale. You have the 64 gigabyte LCD version, and you have the 512 gigabyte LCD version. Let me go over the difference between both of these. The first difference is going to be pretty obvious. The LCD version that's 64 gigabytes, it's way cheaper. It's less than $300, which is a steal when it comes to something this powerful as a handheld. The 512 gigabyte version is $381.65. Now, your first question is going to be, what do I get for that extra bit of money? I'm going to tell you right now, and just for the most obvious thing, is you get 512 gigabytes of an NVMe SSD. Now, I will say the NVMe is probably going to be faster than the 64 gigabyte version, but I'll talk a little bit about that later on. So let's go over this. So the first big difference is the gigabytes. You got 64 gigabytes here in the 296 version. You have 512 over here at the 381. The display is the same on both of these. The only difference is that the 381 comes with an anti-glare etched glass. I have this version. This is the one I bought when my son was born. I've paid the extra bit of money, and I can tell you what, I don't really know what this anti-glare etched glass is. I don't really seem to notice. I have a ton of other handhelds. I don't really understand what this does, and I don't really think it's I definitely don't think it's $80 worth. You can go and you can research that on your own and see if it's a big deal to you. I don't think it is. You have the 7-inch display on both sides, and you have 60 hertz refresh rate, Wi-Fi 5, and a 40-watt hour battery, which is 2 to 8 hours depending on gameplay. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm playing Elden Ring. It is 2 hours if I'm lucky. So it really is graphically, intense games really pull the juice from that. But that's okay. I have a really nice charger. Get one too. It comes with a power supply cable. Yay. You can get a better one. Look it up online which ones work, but you can get one that really charges it quick, and you get a carrying case. Over here, the only difference besides that anti-glare glass and the 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD is you get a Steam profile bundle, which I don't really know what that does. I guess my Steam profile looks very spiffy. These are the two Steam Decks that are on sale right now. Now, the other versions are up here, which are way more money, okay? You have a 256 gigabyte version for $399, which, why would you get this if you can get a 512 for $381? No idea. So don't even look at this, okay? Don't even look at this. And then you have the OLED versions. So I'm going to just say it right now. OLED is really, really cool. I have OLED Game Boys. I put an OLED screen. They're amazing. I have OLED monitors. They're amazing. They're very cool. However, this is a handheld that, you're going to be playing on a lot, and you really care about that OLED, then maybe go for this. But they have an OLED with the 512 gigabyte version here. They have a bigger battery. That is something to be looking at there. They have a little bit of bigger battery. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. And it has a 90 hertz refresh rate. So it has a higher refresh rate. However, I'm going to say one thing here, okay? Just because it has a 90 hertz refresh rate doesn't mean your game is going to be able to do that. Elden Ring is still only going to be able to pull 40 frames per second on low settings that you've set and looked up yourself. So don't think, oh, hey, I see 90 hertz here. This is 60 hertz. I'm going to be able to get 90 frames per second. You're not. You're not on those graphically heavy games. It has better Wi-Fi. Not sure if that's important to you, but maybe it is. And then, of course, we have the other version here, the 1 terabyte OLED, which comes with like an exclusive startup movie, which you can actually customize now. You can customize the startup screen. It comes with a carrying case, removable liner. Okay. And it comes with an exclusive keyboard. And then it comes again with that anti-glare glass, which I'm not sure what that is. I guess it's something that sits on top of, your Steam Deck. But I really have no idea what it is. I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't even look at the OLEDs. I just wouldn't. Because to me, if you can get one for $300 right here, why would you pay $250 more just for a better screen and maybe some better battery, maybe some faster Wi-Fi? I just don't see it. I've been rocking on the 512 gigabyte version for 2 years. I love it. Now, if I was really, really loving this thing to the point where I really wanted the screen to be perfect and I wanted the OLED, then yeah, maybe I would go and get the OLED. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not even interested in that. I'll just wait for the Steam Deck 2 when that comes out and possibly get that. This, however, if I was going to go for any of these, I would definitely go for this $300 one. So originally when I bought the Steam Deck, I got the 512 gigabyte version. Of the two now, I think that I would just get the 64 gigabyte version that's $300. Yeah, you miss out on the anti-glare screen, which I'm not really sure it even helps because there's still a little bit of glare. I guess it has a little bit of a better finish. But I would just upgrade the storage myself because, well, it's really nothing to just crack this thing open and, put in some new storage, whatever you want. And that would probably be the biggest bang for your buck. Speaking of upgrades, there's actually a lot that you can do to this thing. You can replace the shell entirely. I've been looking at like an atomic purple transparent shell myself. You can also put in Hall effect joysticks. This is very cool, especially especially if you want to use this thing for gaming for a very long period of time. Because as you use joysticks on consoles or controllers, the joysticks wear out. I'm not going to get into that. It's out of scope of this video entirely. But if you're interested in Hall effect joysticks, that is something that you can get for the Steam Deck as well. There's also a really cool upgrade where you can upgrade the screen of the Steam Deck and give it, instead of an 800 pixel resolution, you can give it a 1200 pixel resolution. Now, I don't know what that does in terms of graphics, if it impacts it, but it would be pretty interesting to see that and maybe do in the future. So maybe a future video. One very important detail about the Steam Deck LCD version, okay? You cannot upgrade that version's screen to an OLED screen. There is not a mod out there that I've found yet that you can do that with this. So if you are really into OLED and you want OLED, just go ahead and get the Steam OLED. The OLED is not on sale right now, so that $300 is then gonna be kicked up to $400+. I really don't see that as a good reason to buy a $400+ machine. I have an OLED Game Boy, I have other devices that are OLED. I don't think it's really worth it for that price, but your mileage may vary. So, should you buy a Steam Deck in 2024, potentially on sale right now? If it were me, I would jump on the less than $300 64 gigabyte version and just upgrade the solid state drive in it. For that price, you really can't go wrong with this, and unless you don't really know how to put a stick of RAM in, which I'm sure a lot of you know how to open things up with a screwdriver and throw in a stick of RAM at this point. If you're watching this video, you probably know a thing or two about computers. It's pretty easy to do on this. Just look up a YouTube video. You can do so much with the Steam Deck, from everything from Elden Ring to retro video games, even emulating the Switch, which, by the way, may be a video in the future. As a dad, I bought this 2 years ago when my son was born. Again, didn't want him to see anything crazy on the big screen. I still get to play all the games I want to. Yeah, there's some graphic settings that I have to adjust to make it run a solid frames per second. That's not a big deal because you can just look up those settings. It's a fantastic device. I really have been using it nonstop since. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a daily driver at this point. So there you have it. Should you buy a Steam Deck in the year of our Lord 2024? I would say yes, especially for the $300 price point. You can't go wrong with it. Again, I use it every day. I literally play it every day. Playing Elden Ring, love it. You just can't go wrong with it. Get it now, and then mod it and put in a new stick of RAM. Get a really nice, spicy NVMe Pro, Samsung, whatever, power thing. Anyway, guys, if you liked this video at all, please give it a like below. Consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.